Are we back? Are we really doing this? Oh my god, I'm so excited, but also like really nervous. Oh gosh, okay. Hi guys, welcome back to Missing Mondays. I hope you guys had a good weekend, and I sincerely apologize for not posting a Missing Monday in a very long time. I won't make excuses, but I had a lot going on. I finished my school semester, it was the holidays, and then both my computer and my camera decided to give out within like days of each other, so I had to order a new computer, a new camera, and everything's on back order, so it just took a long time for everything to come in. But I'm back. I'm ready to keep going with Missing Mondays. If you guys watched my vision board video from about a week or two ago, I talked about how I really want to make YouTube a priority and post more and be just more authentic in my content. So I'm very excited to be back with Missing Mondays. Like I said, Jane and John Doe cases are a passion of mine. I love true crime, but I love being able to contribute to true crime instead of just listening to other people's misfortunes. Don't get me wrong, I love a good true crime video. I watch them religiously, but I also want to be a part of the side of true crime that helps to advocate and find a solution. So I also just looked on YouTube, and the last Missing Monday was posted 2 months ago. I literally get married in 2 months. But today I am back with an all new Missing Monday, and we are starting with the state of Arizona. So this case in particular, there is not much information at all. So it's definitely going to be shorter than my normal Missing Monday videos, but it's so intriguing, and it still baffles me even after doing all my research how there isn't more information on this case, how there hasn't been any developments in the case, how it's been almost 14 years since this Jane Doe was discovered, and there's literally nothing on her case, and you'll understand why that's so surprising in a minute. If you guys enjoy true crime content, or you like my videos in particular, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to become a part of my little family. And without further ado, let's just get into the case. Today we are going to be discussing the case of Maria Morales Mendez, Jane Doe. Now, I do want to officially put a disclaimer. I apologize if I mispronounce anything. This Jane Doe most likely is from Mexico, not from the United States. If I pronounce something wrong, I'm sorry, I don't mean to. On June 23rd of 2008, a woman's body was found along the roadside in Pima County, Arizona. Tucson, Arizona is in Pima County, to kind of put things in perspective, but Pima County is a large area in Arizona. Now, her body was found specifically 1 mile south of milepost 126.5 on State Route 86 near Crown Hang Village. Now, she had only been deceased for a few hours at most before her discovery, but even then, there was literally nothing to go off of when her remains were discovered. There has been no official rule out or cause of death after her autopsy or since then, so we don't know if it was a homicide or if it was a natural cause of death. So basically, right from the start, there was just little to nothing to go off of. She was estimated to be around the ages of 15 to 20 years old, Hispanic, female, and weighed 92 pounds at the time of her discovery, so she was definitely on the smaller side. Her most notable feature was her long, dark black hair. She had brown eyes, and both of her ears were pierced. At the time of her discovery, she was found wearing a yellow medal with little red stones on them. Also, during her autopsy, it was discovered that one of her teeth, specifically tooth 31, I'm not a dentist, but that is what it says when you research this case, is that tooth 31 had something called occlusal caries. Again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, but basically what it means is that it's a cavity that starts on the surface of your tooth and is visible from the surface of your tooth. Now, they were able to obtain a full DNA profile from our Jane Doe, but they weren't able to obtain fingerprints. This part of the case really gets me. I've thought about this nonstop since I came across her case. But basically, like I had previously stated, at the time of her death to the time of her discovery, it had only been a couple of hours, meaning it was not enough time for the stages of decomposition to set in. If you look at her autopsy photos very clearly show she was in really good condition when she was found and pretty well preserved. And because there were no visible signs of trauma on her body, it just doesn't make sense why they weren't able to obtain a DNA fingerprint. Now, the stages of rigor mortis and decomposition don't normally set in for 1 to 6 hours after time of death. Typically, the average is around 2 to 4 hours, but this also depends on the manner of death as well as the environmental surroundings. Now, she was found in the desert in Arizona, and at the time of her discovery, only 2 days earlier on June 21st of 2008, the record high of heat for that day was 111 degrees. That does suggest that decomposition would have definitely set in faster, opposed to if she'd been found in a colder climate, but it's still not fast enough where they wouldn't be able to obtain fingerprints. Usable biometric DNA or fingerprints can be obtained from a body found in warm climates for up to 4 days after death, and a body that's found in a colder climate, you can obtain fingerprint DNA for up to 50 days after time of death. Like I said, it was only a couple hours after she was found, not 4 days. So again, it doesn't make sense why they weren't able to obtain a fingerprint from her body unless there is a big piece of information that was never released to the public that we just don't know about. Now, at the time of her death and the time of her discovery, she was wearing blue denim jeans by the brand Miss May, light green underwear with embroidery stitching on the front of it, also with a tan or gray bra with embroidery stitching on it. She had on a dark green long-sleeved shirt, a black belt with a metal buckle by the brand Nautica, and she also had 2 separate pairs of socks and tennis shoes. Now, the socks in specific were white and black, and they had the word USA written on the side of them. And for jewelry, aside from the earrings she was found wearing, she was also wearing a black digital watch. Now, this is where her story gets really interesting. Now, she was found with a backpack that had Mexican identification in it, as well as multiple other personal items. This included a wallet, Mexican identification paperwork, numerous pieces of paper with various names and numbers written on them, prayer cards, a comb for her hair, Mexican coins, and a scrunchie. The Mexican identification paperwork stated that she was a woman by the name of Maria Morales Mendez, and she was born on January 19th of 1991. So I'm sure you're probably thinking, well, if they found her identification paperwork and they had her wallet, problem solved. That's her identity. They have her identity, right? Well, unfortunately not. All of the documentation she was found with was fake. And this is why she is known as Maria Morales Mendez Jane Doe, because of the identification that she was found with. Upon further investigation though, although were they able to prove that the identification was fake, they also are not able to prove if the woman pictured in the photo along with the identification is or is not the Jane Doe. So it was basically just a huge dead end. And quite literally, that is all the information on this case. I scoured the internet for quite a few days regarding this case, and I try really hard not to watch other creators' videos if they are covering the same case as me, but there's nothing on any of the normal websites for Jane and John Doe's, like the Doe Network, or in this case, she is listed on the national website for missing and exploited children because of her estimated age. All of those websites state over and over the exact same thing, just a small synopsis about what she was wearing and where she was found and the fake identification. This is also the part of the video where I'd normally go into possible rule outs or people that have already been ruled out, but like I said, there is none. After 14 years, they don't have any possible leads or any ideas of who this woman might have been, or any rule outs of who they know she for sure is not. Now, this could be because she is thought to have been a Mexican citizen, meaning she is from Mexico, and obviously Mexico is a different country. They have their own police system, they have their own way of identifying missing people, they have their own database, etc. So it could be just a conflict of overcrossing the two and just not having as many options to rule out. But regardless, I do want to discuss one more point of interest in this story, and I came across this piece of information on a Reddit feed, and after reading this Reddit page, it definitely made the case even more bizarre. But I do want to point out and state very apparently that the information that was found on this Reddit page, aside from the information that I've already told you, is all just a theory. Whether it be a conspiracy theory or it just be a pure coincidence, it's not fact. It is just something that has been brought up in this case that I think is worth mentioning. Okay, so basically this theory all originated from a web sleuths page that ended up making its way to a Reddit feed, but someone somewhere decided to Google Maria Morales Mendez missing, and it led them to a Google search about a book that's called Mexizona, An American Dream by Alan A. Larson. Now, if you're not from the United States or you're just not very good with geography like me, Arizona is one of the states in the United States that borders Mexico. So it's an entry point for either or. If you're trying to get to Mexico or you're trying to get to the United States, you can cross over the border in Arizona along with a few other states. So Mexizona is a mashup of Mexico and Arizona. Anywho, around chapter 3 of this book, a character by the name of Maria Morales Mendez is introduced into the story. As it goes, her and this character Diego meet in a place called Altar, Mexico, and they are urged by Mexican officials to buy fake passports and cross over the border into the United States. So they pose as a couple named Donald and Mary Rizzo, and them along with a couple other characters make it over the border into Arizona in the United States. Now at some point in the book, Maria is shot in the leg. She's not killed, but she's injured enough where all the other characters leave her there and she's left alone to die in the Arizona desert. The person who shot her happens to be a character by the name of Arlen or Arlene, and regardless, he happens to be the nephew of the Pima County Sheriff. So it's just one big coincidence. Now, she does end up dying in the book, and that's really all that happens with her storyline. It's pretty short when it comes to her storyline, and then the rest of the book just goes on. Now, since the time that this specific Reddit page was posted, unfortunately, most of the publishing websites that were producing and selling this book have since taken it off their roster, including Kindle. So in terms of buying the book, it's definitely much harder to get your hands on it, but I was able to find a couple websites where I could read snippets and book reviews of it. But regardless, all of the information from this story is basically verbatim of our Jane Doe. And that's why this case is just so interesting to me and intriguing to me, because there's definitely a fake passport, a fake name, a fake identification involved, but there's a possible name, and it just so happens that her story and where she was found and what she was posing as was the name of a character in a book who did the exact same thing that she did, and it's just like this big crossover, and I'm just like, how has there just not been more information on this story? A lot of people theorize that she might have read this book before deciding to pass over into the United States, which is where she got the name Maria Morales Mendez, or where she even got the idea to buy a fake passport, etc. Other people theorize that possibly her real name is Maria Morales Mendez, and she just wasn't able to obtain real identification, and so she bought fake ones with her real name, and maybe her parents have read this book and named her this. But regardless, like I said, there's still no updates. There are still no movements in her case regarding her real identification. As I previously stated, it's most likely that she was not a resident of the United States, so I do believe that our best chance of identifying her and giving her her identity back, which is absolutely what this woman deserves, is just exposure. It's going to take people talking about this case and urging officials to put more effort into it for us to get more answers on who this woman might have been. If you did find this video interesting, or you are interested in who our Jane Doe might be, please share this video, share her story, do your own research, because like I said, exposure probably is going to be the only way that we solve this case. Now that is all the information that I have on Maria Morales Mendez, Jane Doe. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Like I said, feel free to share it, subscribe to my channel, like it, leave a comment, do any of that stuff, and I will see you guys next week with an all new Missing Mondays. Bye.